All right, good evening. We are live. And while we're live, since right now it looks like Lucas, who's one of our most loyal viewers, and we love you, brother. We appreciate you watching the show as often as you do. Before we get into stuff, I'm going to give you a quick cap over. Here's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about media malfeasance and things like Russel conjugation, lies of omission, and just kind of some of the most terrifying truths that we have learned as they have solidified in the wake of Charlottesville. But Lucas logged in and was sitting in the live chat room 5-6 minutes before the show started, and he has sat there as patient as a saint while we were dealing with some technical issues. So the first thing I'm going to do, Lucas, if you don't mind, I am personally going to try to find you on Facebook real quick. And if I can send you a friend invite, I will send you, Lucas and Sharon both, I want to send you each one of the coffee cups from our merchandise store. I'll give you the link in a second. Y'all can go and look and tell me which one you want. I highly recommend The Enemy is Filled with Chewy Nougats with the bisected ATIFA protester who's got the Snickers bar spilling out of his gut. So I'm going to look you both up real quick and send you both personal friend invites. And I would not usually do this live on the air, but this is for my two very special constant viewers. Okay, Lucas, I don't see you on Facebook, brother. I tell you what, you guys follow me on Minds, I believe. So on minds.com, send me a private message. And okay, good. I got you, Lucas. So if you've got Minds, send me a private message on Minds. And after the show tonight, I'll send you out one of our coffee cups. Just tell me which one you want. Go to designbyhumans.com, search for the Brushfire Mind. And I've only got five independent designs up there so far. The American Exceptionalism Equality sign, the Brushfire Mind fire skull that says the truth should matter. I'll put any one of those on a coffee cup for you and send it out. And here's my caveat. What I want you to do after you get your coffee cup is send me another PM. And on the very next live stream, I will invite you personally with your new coffee cup and have you talk with us a little bit on the live show that evening and show off your coffee cup. We'll get you on air for 10 or 15 minutes and have a little fun with it. I want to sell the absolute dog shit out of these coffee cups, especially The Enemy is Filled with Chewy Nougat. So thanks so much for being here. And again, I apologize for our having some technical difficulties. Now let's dig into some madness. And there's David. David already has one of our wonderful T-shirts.
No, you can't.
So let's talk about Charlottesville and the wake of Charlottesville. Okay. So what happened in Charlottesville last weekend? We talked about it last Sunday night, but there are some major takeaways here. The media is reporting this massive, violent rally. There were only about 200 people there as part of the white nationalist group, right? And it was a very, very small rally, but there were a crap load of protesters with BLM, Antifa, and the Black Bloc. And they keep being reported as either counter-protesters or anti-hate protesters. Guys, Black Lives Matter has a website that includes their manifesto. They're not shy about it. They are not an anti-hate group. They are an anti-white group. Their manifesto makes demands like they frame the idea of prison population in terms of essentially demanding that being black be considered by the justice system as a blanket pardon for crime, whether or not one's been committed. Right? And instead of demanding that justice be served, what they're demanding is special treatment. They also make demands on reducing white population. I'm not a white supremacist. I'm not a white nationalist. I'm not. I am a white guy, however. And the last couple of years of not just, it's not like it's ethnic pride, right? This isn't even Black Power movements. Okay, I could even appreciate those to an extent. For example, Malcolm X, Black nationalist, he said very, very firmly that Black nationalism is not about, and it is important, that Black nationalism is not about reconciling the Black man to the white man. It is about reconciling the Black man to himself. That's Malcolm X, okay? He said that. And he was asked to pontificate on it and explain what he meant, and he was trying to explain that Black men do not need to seek the approval of white men. Likewise, I believe individual men do not need to seek the approval of other individual men. Like I touched on a little bit last week, I am a personal supremacist. Now, I cheated. I have worked toward personal supremacy by straight up cheating. How did I cheat? Well, I was born with the gene code to be 6.5 feet tall and smarter than most people you'll ever meet. And I'm humble. I'm as humble as Drax. But I say that in all seriousness because individually we have specific strengths and weaknesses. One cannot reconcile himself to other men. Other men are not situated the same as we are. And women, Sharon, I apologize. But I should hope that if you've made it this far in life, that you get to listen to me speak, that you understand that idiomatically the word man is the gender neutral in the language that does not include gender functionaries for noun, verb agreement, verbial conjugation, et cetera, et cetera. And you know what, guys? I'm having a little bit of trouble with the live chat tonight since Cade's not here, because usually when Cade's sitting next to me, the camera is not directly in front of my chat screen monitor, and I didn't even think about that shit before I sat down, but it's okay.
To be fair, I am trying with that.
Say that again, Steve. Speak up just a little bit.
I said, to be fair, I am trying to keep up with that.
Oh, to keep up with the chat? Yeah, I see that. But I'm trying to address them as we go through it. How's by the way, real quick, how's the chat look on your screen there, Steve? I know you're looking at it on an iPhone. Oh, no. How's the chat overlay look on your iPhone as you're looking at it?
It looks illegible. It's very, very tiny and all just runs together because of the shadow letters. Okay,
check. Got to fix that. Everybody else who's watching and in the live chat, take a quick break for me running my mouth a little bit. How's my sound? How's my audio coming through to you guys? Is it clipping? Is it broken? Is it too loud? Is it too quiet? Is it clean? I think they're all getting this on a little bit of a delay anyway, so.
There's some sort of like a 15-second delay.
Okay. Sharon says we sound good. We're going to run with that. If anybody else complains, okay. I got a thumbs up from Lucas, too. Groovy.
Well, you did. How about me, y'all?
And how about Steve? Steve sound clear, too? Okay, good. So, in the wake of Charlottesville, we have learned a lot about where the real hate is in this country. The first thing we see that is just alarming, we addressed this last weekend a little bit, but I want to really hammer this home. Headlines. So many of the headlines immediately following the violence in Charlottesville read 3 dead, including 2 police, amid white supremacist violence, or amid racist violence, or amid racist riots. As I'm sure most of you are aware, at this point, I think we've gotten some clarification here and there. The 2 police officers that died in Charlottesville were not in the violence. They were in a helicopter, and the helicopter crashed. Now, I've heard a lot of the lefties say, well, they wouldn't have had to be in that helicopter if it hadn't been for the riots. I can maybe give you a maybe on that. Are you telling me that if they weren't in the riots that night, they wouldn't have been at work? Okay. I mean, no. Operator error or natural disasters are not the fault of anybody doing anything nearby. Unless that helicopter was shot down by a Nazi with an RPG-7, or it was sabotaged in some way by one of the radical racist groups. And I'm not entirely convinced that all the white people there were radical racists either. I'll get to that in just a minute. But unless something like that happened, either Nazis sabotaged them or Nazis shot them down with an RPG or something like that, then the crash is not their fault. But here's what's really happening there. Think back over the last couple of years, the last 2 years, we've got the baseball game shooter, a Bernie Sanders supporter, a rabid, aggressive Bernie Sanders supporter decided to attempt to assassinate a crap load of congressional Republicans, House Republicans. He went to the baseball game practice. These guys were practicing for a ball game to raise money for charity. And that's important because charity is something that we right-wing nutbags do. And I'll do a whole bit on charity. I've got a thing about charity, but the left is all about the welfare state and raising let's increase the taxes and do more programs. The left is obsessed with this welfare state, which is the weaponization of charity. It is straight out of the Alinsky playbook. The decision is to take what is moral and good about a people and turn it into a weapon to murder them. That is what the welfare state is, 100%. And I'm sorry, I gotta pull back a little bit because that'll be a whole other tangent that becomes problematic. So anyway, the violence. So you've got the baseball shooter, killed a bunch of people there. You've got the Dallas shooter. And the baseball shooter, there's 100%, there is no doubt that he is a Bernie Sanders supporter. So being a Bernie supporter, Bernie has been spouting that by any means necessary crap. We will take down Trump by any means necessary. That's straight out of Bernie's mouth. He said those words. Before that, you got the BLM shooter who was an Army soldier, an Army veteran apparently, who had converted to Islam and joined Black Lives Matter and murdered 5 police officers in the name of Black Lives Matter. Now BLM comes out and says, well, he's not part of us. Okay, if a BLM spokesperson can come out and say, we disavow that sniper, then they no longer, if they want us to take that disavowal seriously, in the wake of the dozens of times that Donald Trump has disavowed the KKK, the white supremacists, and David Duke over the course, and several other named radicals, and over the course of his campaign, then BLM no longer gets to claim that Donald Trump is a racist. If Donald Trump is a racist, then Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization that employs assassins to murder police. Period. You can't have it both ways, kids. That is not how logic works. That is not how argument works. That is not reality. There were several police officers in the wake of the Dallas shooting who were assassinated sitting in their vehicles, especially in New York State and around, most especially in New York City. So you've got assassinations from BLM. What the conservative movement, to which they are attempting to chain these racist KKK white supremacists to, what conservatives to whom they are trying to chain these racists have that Black Lives Matter, ATIFA, and the Black Bloc do not have is a long history of violence, of assassinations, a long recent history of violence, of assassinations, and rioting, looting, property damage, setting fire to colleges because the gay Jewish kid wanted to speak and they just cannot stand that. It's like this, guys. After what Donald Trump said on Saturday, when he said, essentially on Saturday, he said, I disavow all hate groups. All hate groups are terrible. Right after that, you got the media comes out, oh, well, he didn't specifically say white supremacists. That's tantamount to supporting the white supremacists. And I was so worried. I knew it was going to happen. I predicted it was going to happen. I said as much on the last show. But after they started badgering him for not specifically disavowing the white supremacists, the Donald came out on Monday and did just that. He specifically disavowed the white supremacists, the KKK, so on and so forth. And then he said, and other hate groups. And because he said, and other hate groups, the media goes ahead and says, well, he's still trying to lump in Antifa and BLM and all them and say that they're the same as the Nazis and the KKK. Newsflash. They are the same as the Nazis and the KKK. They're left-wing racists who are looking for socialism, who are looking for welfare state, who are looking for ethnic purity. That's the KKK, the Nazis, BLM. That's what they are. Antifa, not so much with the ethnic purity. Antifa just wants to make sure that you can't have private property. Antifa is just a bunch of communists and fascists. And yes, I said that. Antifa, the anti-fascist action movement in America, is a purely fascist organization, largely because it's chock full of shitburger idiots that don't know what a fascist is. These are people that are opposed to free speech. They are opposed to the freedom of your assembly. They do not believe that you have a right to petition your government for redress of grievances. They are monsters. And Donald Trump, he gave them what they asked for. He gave them a second speech in which he actively disavowed the specific white hate groups Excuse me, guys. Apologize for that. He specifically disavowed the specific white hate groups, just like they begged him to. Guys, it is this simple. The lefties, the left-wing media, Sean Hannity talks about the five groups: the deep state, the left-wing media, the incumbent Democrats, the never Trumpers, and the weak Republicans are the five groups that are trying to ouster Donald Trump. It's this simple. If Donald Trump had come out and asked for nothing short of white genocide, if he had done that for them, they would have complained that he hadn't gone far enough by failing to demand the destruction of Israel. Because let's not forget, all these lefties, the Democrat official platform sides with Palestine. So they've been throwing around all this crap about anti-Semitism ever since Donald Trump got elected. Ever since Donald Trump, whose shithead Democrat son-in-law is Jewish. Oh no, he's an anti-Semite, and the anti-Semites love him. You're Democrats. You side with Palestine. That means that you personally, individually support Hamas. Hamas is barely not ISIS. If you side with Palestine, then your political position on the question of Palestine versus Israel is that Israel does not have the right to exist. Not that something should be done to help Palestine. No, if you side with Palestine, then you are supporting the charter of Hamas and a nation whose constitution calls for the extermination of the Jews and the end of Israel as a state. If you are voting Democrat, part of the platform you're voting for is the extermination of every Jew in Israel. You do not get to cry about hate groups if you vote Democrat, because you are supporting the extermination of the Jews. Period. And you want to cry about a bunch of chunky white boys with shitty neck beards who are scared, and not without reason, that they're being replaced. Steve?
I don't know how quick this mic will pick up. What was my delay to you?
Pretty good. You're good. Keep coming.
Okay. In the comments, we were talking a little bit about Jason Kessler in and amongst all this, just speaking about something in particular. It was pretty commonly known that he was an Obama supporter and he was a member of Occupy Wall Street. I discovered a different news network on my cable tonight that I want to keep a watch on and see if it is what I'm starting to discover that it is. The interview they had with Kessler, this doesn't seem to have been a part of kind of a false flag Antifa kind of thing, like a lot of people were thinking it was from the beginning. Kessler seems like he'd been red-pilled, or his support in Occupy was not your typical support of Occupy, if that makes any sense. Don't want to make excuses for him. I don't know the fellow personally, and it was just one interview. But the dude was speaking from inside. He wasn't reading a script. So I think paying attention to more interviews with him will tell us more about what did happen in Charlottesville. And on that note, sorry, I was addressing that, so I can't pick up exactly where you left off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Steve, what I was talking about while you were engaging the audience is the Democrat the official Democrat platform sides with Palestine, right? Mm-hmm. Palestine is Hamas. That's essentially the official government there. And Hamas, the the Constitution of Hamas in Palestine calls for the end of Israel and the extermination of all Jews. So if you vote Democrat, you are voting for the extermination of all Jews. You support that position. If you do not support that position, you cannot vote Democrat with a clear conscience. If you are voting Democrat, supporting the extermination of all Jews by proxy through the support of Palestine through the Democrat platform, you don't get to complain about racism.
I can't argue with that. I don't even know how that happens. It's as simple as somebody like Bernie being all for the left when he wasn't going to get the nomination, when they're supporting people who would just as soon hang him as well.
That's right. Bernie Sanders is officially signed on to a platform that supports the extermination of the Jews in Israel. Let that sink in.
Mm-hmm. It's a follow the money kind of thing. No question. Pardon me.
Nice try.
I know this. I've got an improvised rig tonight, guys. I'm actually broadcasting through my phone and a hands-free built-in mic set of headphones. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm having some really bad data transfer issues inside the house tonight. So hopefully this will be sorted out by next week.
Well, your audio is coming through pretty clear, and I think we've gotten past your delay there. So that's
excellent. To expand, if it's not going to derail your next train of thought,
go ahead.
We've gone a little bit further, and Sharon had mentioned in the comments that about an Alex Jones interview with Kessler. That's not the one that I was watching tonight. I discovered this network called OAN, One America News Network, and I've never paid attention to it. I just happened to cross it and saw who they were interviewing. And no, it's not entirely Apple issues, Dave, but nice try. I didn't catch the reporter's name that was interviewing him, but it was definitely not Alex Jones. It was a skinny guy with glasses on who was much more eloquent than Alex Jones tends to be. And I'm pretty sure this guy's not afraid of gay frogs. But as the more they were talking to Kessler and things, it was approached pretty well. He fielded questions from a few different ways that he could have. He was asking the kind of things that if Kessler was on CNN, some of those questions would have been there. But he also asked questions from the other side of it, kind of gave the dude a pretty balanced approach. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm going to start watching this OAN, because the more I research it, it's supposed to be kind of a center-right kind of news channel to balance off the, once again, majority mainstream media being leftist. And what they do, from what I was able to see tonight, their news feeds are 100% news. It's just a sterile news delivery. They do have opinion shows, but they keep those separate from their news reports quite specifically. And like I said, I only have a little bit of reading on it tonight, and I only have tonight watching it, but I'm going to start playing with that channel a little bit. I followed them on social media too, so I can kind of get a real feel for if this is somewhere I want to start trying to get some information as well. Because one of the things that I shared on my Facebook page tonight was the news that they delivered was how the Lebanese this last week have attacked ISIS strongholds themselves, that the Syrians are pushing their way through. They've almost completely retaken the town of Raqqa, I believe it was, and also that a U.S.-backed Iraqi force is undergoing an operation to retake Tal Afar in Iraq. That's nothing we heard about in amongst all this railing about statues, racism, and, oh yeah, Trump's bad. So I'm hoping OAN has some legs on it. I'm hoping that there is more of this. Just give me the info. Let me make my decisions about how I feel about it. That's what I want out of my news reports.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah, I didn't mean to soapbox about that. I found it pertinent tonight, and it's going to change the way I do things for a little while, so I thought I'd share it.
Definitely. And yeah, I'll tell you what, guys, I'm guilty this week. I have not chased down the other news. I've been pretty busy, so my primary news exposure has been the mainstream media this week. Just what I'm picking up here and there, and everything is about the Charlottesville thing. Well, then, oh my God. So then we have the van attack in Barcelona. 13 dead, I think it is. One 7-year-old kid, American dead, whole bunch of people injured, and then a shootout afterward. And Wolf Blitzer on CNN says that the Barcelona van attack, shaking my damn head, is a copycat of the Charlottesville attack.
I don't even have words for that.
I mean, what? It couldn't possibly be related to the 2 to 3 years of that tactic being used repeatedly by Islamic terrorists. No. It couldn't possibly be that these sons of bitches are already making a habit of running people over on London Bridge and in Paris. I mean, it's boom, 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 one after the other, after the other, after the other. They've been doing this. Gandhi, I don't know if I could say it again. I might just shit in my recliner. Brother, I'm sorry. I don't think I could do that for you.
I can try to get through it one time, just for clarity.
Yeah.
The fool said that the Muslim attack that killed 13 people that they jumped out and started shooting was somehow a copycat of the idiot in... No, I can't even get the whole way through that. Not the way I want to.
Okay, what he said essentially is this, that the Arab-born Muslim who murdered a bunch of Spaniards in Barcelona, Spain, is a white supremacist. Yep, it's like that, Steve.
We need more recall elections. I'm thoroughly convinced that when somebody says something like that, there should be an instant ballot generation.
You know what? I tell you what, we ought to pop on change.org and start a petition to impeach. Damn, I forgot his name. Legion, help me out. The name of the vice mayor of Charlottesville, the Black Panther. We should start a petition to impeach him and Terry McAuliffe at least. Right?
Yeah, mind you, they're still on a 15-second delay-ish, so
okay,
I have to give it a little time.
Let me know when you hear that great idea. We should start a petition on change.org to impeach Terry McAuliffe and the vice mayor of Charlottesville for the crimes. Because make no mistake, what they did is they took very careful actions. They took very careful actions to suppress the First Amendment rights of these people.
Yeah, that's Legion posted it there. Wes Bellamy is the fellow's name. Kessler mentioned that tonight.
Okay, Sharon says she thought he resigned. Is that right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, well, we'll look at an update on that. If he didn't resign yet, then we'll petition to have him impeached. Because, really? We don't need to put up with criminals. If we can show clear abuse. I mean, isn't that what we wrote the Declaration for?
Yeah, but we're not in that state. Aren't they supposed to take care of their own stuff? I mean, I don't like it any more than anyone else, but I didn't vote for the retard.
I didn't vote for him either, but This is a criminal holding an office which is subsidized by federal tax dollars, which means that his use of force, of police and military force, is a direct attack on the American people at large. So I don't see any reason that one of us could. It should come from somebody in the city or in the state, though.
Yeah, I think that it would carry more weight that way if it was all residents of Virginia, that especially around that town and vicinity, would be the only way that would matter. Because, I mean, there were people all over petitioning to remove all kinds of folks. I mean, there were people from out of state trying to petition for a re-election here because Ossoff lost.
Yeah.
I don't take change.org all that seriously, because any fool can make a petition about just about anything, and it waters down the value. Now, if you want to print out some paper and carry it around and we go meet some folks, I think that'd carry a lot more weight.
All right. Well, I'm gonna back us back up to Russel Conjugation on this one.
Yeah, you're going to have to make this connection.
Yeah, we're gonna have a little fun with this. I just pulled out my phone and just searched for Charlottesville, Virginia, and I'm gonna read a few headlines to you, and we're gonna talk about what Russel Conjugation is and what they're trying to do here. Republican senator says Trump's Charlottesville response compromises the president's moral authority to lead. Once again, these guys, if Donald Trump came out and called for actual white genocide, these guys would complain that he had not gone far enough by omitting the calls for the destruction of Israel from his address. 30 hours in Charlottesville. Okay, so you've got the Airbnb guys said no, that they wouldn't allow white supremacists to rent their spaces. Oh no, they just straight shut down the program in that area, rather than risk white supremacists and alt-right guys renting their spaces. It just goes on and on and on. 3 dead, including 2 police, amid white nationalist violence. Like I was saying a little bit ago, I'll repeat this again because one of my good buddies just started watching. The thing that the left is looking for right now is they just can't stand that we on the right, and this is what they see. They have decided that we on the right, if you're a conservative, if you are to the right of Marx and Alinsky, then you are a white supremacist. That's what they believe.
That's the way it comes out, yeah.
Never mind that the Nazis are Marx-ass tricks to begin with. Never mind all that. And until this car crasher at Charlottesville, the right wing, if you wanted to find right-wing violence, actual right-wing political protest violence, you had to go all the way back to the Unabomber. Period. Apart from that, it's the left that has a mass assassination attempt by a devout Bernie Sanders supporter, mass assassination, successful mass assassination, 5 police officers dead in Dallas, multiple police assassinations by Black Lives Matter supporters, multiple fires, multiple looting, multiple rioting. They are devastated on the left that their cause is steeped in buckets and buckets of blood and fire. Funny story about the Nazis and the white supremacists. Actual people who believe that they are Nazis and claim to be white supremacists and so on and so forth have have been holding free speech rallies all year. And they've been peaceful in every case. They've been peaceful until the free speech advocates were attacked by Antifa, and Antifa almost categorically never shows up without also having Black Lives Matter and the Black Bloc in tow. They all go together when they go. They expect to see each other there. That's what they do. These headlines that try to pin the accidental death in a helicopter crash of 2 police officers, they're trying to make America believe that the right is as bad as the left because we murder police officers too. They're literally CNN, Wolf Blitzer, Salon, Slate, all these lefty pubs. They're all doing the same thing with this. They're jumping up and down and pointing at the right, and they're screaming, look, it's not just us. Those guys murder policemen too. Except it was a helicopter crash. It was an accident. You don't get to pin that on anybody. Now, I'm not excusing the shitbag in the little car that ran over the girl. There is no excuse for that. That's monstrous. That's disgusting. And well, if that guy gets to represent me and everybody else, then every Democrat pulled the trigger at the baseball game. Every Democrat pulled the trigger in Dallas. Every Democrat lit Berkeley on fire to protest the freedom of speech of a gay Jewish white man who they protested as a Nazi. And every Democrat is voting for a platform that calls for the extermination of Israel. All you have to do to be to the right of Mao on the question of Israel is to say, I believe that these people have a right to be alive. Right of Democrat in this country on the Israel issue is, I believe that Jews are allowed to be alive. I don't think that's that big a leap to make. I think it's okay to say that Jews should be allowed to be alive. But that is not the position of the left. So that's what this whole week has been about pointing the finger and trying to pretend like freedom-loving capitalist conservatives like ourselves are just as big of monsters as the left has come to understand that they are. They are embracing their hate. Let's not forget, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton both actively sought the specific and express endorsement of Black Lives Matter, while all the while demanding that Donald Trump disavow the KKK, which he did repeatedly, and quite frankly, unnecessarily. The support of any given group to a politician does not equal the politician's endorsement of that group. However, the active seeking and recruitment of support from individual groups by a politician does equal a patent endorsement of their activities, of their ideology, and of their demands. And guys, I think I'm about tapped out on this topic for tonight. And the show's supposed to be over in 6 minutes. Steve, do you have anything for me?
I got something for you. Thankfully, my technology worked just enough to load the NRA ILA armed citizen page we're so fond of.
Amen to that.
Too
Ladies
bad,
and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you Steve Rodemeyer with this week's White Hats Matter, heartwarming tales of death and destruction.
Yes, because we do love a good, well, we just in general like proof that having our rights works. This one comes actually by way of Breitbart. I haven't read anything out of them in a while specifically. From 1st August, folks in a Walgreens in an evening. Guy came in, tried to hold up the pharmacy counter for oxycodone. There happened to be a legal concealed carry citizen in the line. I assume he's in the store. I think he was in the line. Opened fire to protect the folks behind the counter. And I sure wish Cam was here. Because the reports are that the suspect initially survived being shot, but was pronounced dead at the scene shortly thereafter. So he was still right there. There you go. Very short report this time. I don't have a whole lot of details. Probably won't ever see a follow-up on it. That's not the way this stuff works. But that's one more person who was in the right place at the right time doing what he should have been doing.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for this week. Before I let you go, Lucas, DRT. Excuse me. Before I let you go, Sharon, Lucas, remember, send me your shipping addresses on minds.com in a private message, and I'll get you your coffee. Tell me which coffee cup you want. And as soon as you've got your cup in the mail, I'll hit me up on the private messenger again, and I'll make sure we bring you on the show so you show off your cup and talk about how great we are. We love you. Thanks for being on tonight. Everybody else, thanks for watching. We'll be giving out more prizes in the not too distant future. Lucas and Sharon won it this week. And start keeping your eyes open for good DRT stories, or any White Hats Matter story. Any good story about an armed citizen, a lawfully armed citizen defending themselves or others. And
that does include the boys in blue too.
Yes. When y'all send me in a good one, we'll read it on the air. That'll be our White Hats Matter story for the week. And I'm only going to buy one hat for each of you. But when we get the good ones in and you win the White Hats Matter for the week, I will send you a white cowboy hat. And again, if you're the winner that gets the white cowboy hat, we'll invite you on the show the next week with your cowboy hat and hopefully your BLM swag cup. And we'll see that. Oh, and I've got another swag cup sitting on the desk. So let me show it off a little bit.
Yeah, go get it.
Gandhi, I'll invite you in to show off your shirt and mug next week. Okay, so there it is. The enemy is filled with chewy nougat. This is my favorite. This is one of my original designs, and so far it's my favorite we've got up there. Legion knows where this comes from. He's part of that old Bravo Mafia. So, guys, I think we've had a solid show this week. Thanks for turning up. We will see you next week. Same fat time, same fat channel. Amen to that. And until then, remember, and I'm going to explain it this week. This week, I'm going to give you a little something extra. Y'all know my outro. You build a man a fire, you'll keep him warm for the evening. But if you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Now, the name of our channel, the name of this whole media project that we are embarked on, is the Brushfire Mind. Because Samuel Adams, we took it from Sam Adams' quote, said that it is not a majority, but rather a tireless and irate minority setting brush fires of liberty in the minds of men. When I talk about setting a man on fire, I mean, obviously I'm making a silly joke. You build a man a fire, keep him warm for the evening. You light a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. I'm obviously making a silly joke in reference to the biblical concept. If you
Teach
give
a man to fish.
you'll feed him for the evening. You teach a man to fish, you'll feed him for the rest of his life. Or slightly more obscurely, the Ferengi laws of commerce that say if you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for the evening. But if you teach a man to fish, you'll lose a repeat customer. When you set Legion has been triggered. Legion, did you just shit yourself in my office? Oh.
Yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
When I talk about lighting a man on fire, I am talking about igniting his soul. I am talking about a red pill that makes a man into a free-minded, free-thinking, free-speaking brush fire that will catch and spread and ignite the world with the unstoppable light of truth. And on that, ladies and gentlemen, if you will build a man a fire, you will keep him warm for the evening. But if you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Good night.